In this video, I'm going to show you how you can lose fat, how you can get lean and reveal your abs without having to do more cardio. And no, that doesn't just sound like a dream, it's literally the only way. My name is Marco and I'm an online fitness coach. I've been doing this for about 8 years, and in those 8 years I've helped well over 750 guys get absolutely shredded in under 5 hours a week. So if you want predictable results without fitness consuming your life, subscribe and let's get in. Most men think that the most important thing is to burn more calories through exercise, which I understand. I mean, you feel productive, you get a workout in, you break a sweat, you get that heart rate going, you feel busy, you feel like you're actually doing something. Here's a problem with thinking that way. If you make exercise a priority, you spend hours training with minimal fat loss, you add more cardio instead of actually fixing your nutrition, you chase feeling tired instead of chasing actual results, you feel busy, you feel productive, but your body never really changes, and you burn through your time without creating actual leverage. Fitness is an 80-20 type of thing. So you're putting all your efforts into 20% that give you minimal results, and you completely neglect the 80% that actually drives fat loss. So that's why the progress feels so slow, even though you're working very hard. You don't have a work ethic problem. Your priorities are just not right. Now, here's what I would like you to believe before the end of this video. Fat loss is driven by how you eat, not how much you're trained. This is an input problem. It's not an output problem. And you don't even have to take my word for it. I quote Dr. Mike Heitman, who's a leader in the field of functional medicine. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. And he's right. Nutrition determines your body composition far more than exercise volume. It's like trying to save money by earning more, but then completely ignoring what you spent. Income helps for sure, but the spending ultimately determines the outcomes. Imagine trying to empty a bathtub while the water is still running. So you grab a bucket and you start, scooping out the water as fast as you can. You're working really hard, you're breaking your sweat, you're putting in the effort, but the water level barely changes. It's not because you're lazy, it's just because you're solving the wrong problem. Exercise is the bucket and nutrition is the water. So until you control what's coming in, no amount of effort going out is really going to matter. And honestly, when I give you this example, you tell me, Marco, of course, man, that makes sense. But fitness is the same way. You have all these guys that are training for months and years and, training hard, putting a lot of effort in, but they don't control their intake. So then, of course, the outcome is not going to be what you expect. So this applies to about 95% of my clients. All these guys that you're seeing right here, they came to me after years of effort, right? Because usually the client that comes to me is not someone that just gets started. No, they've been working really hard, but they just don't get the results that they want. So they're not beginners. They know the basics. They tried training harder and doing more. None of that worked. And then once we shift the focus from output to input, all of a sudden they get better results in a few months than they have in a few years. And usually that means with less effort than they put in before.
Results have been amazing, man. I'm 43 years old and I'm probably the best shape I've been in my life. Stella's working out 6, almost 7 times a week, usually 7 times a week, but now 4 times a week. Less working out and better results. It's crazy.
And it's not because I worked any harder because they joined with me. It's just because they finally worked on the things that actually matter. So to give you a personal example, people always ask me how long it took to build my physique. And honestly, that's a really hard question to answer because I wasted at least 3 years trying to outwork my nutrition choices. I thought that if I just trained really hard and I stayed very, very consistent, eventually it will pay off. Well, guess what? It didn't. Now, once I learned how nutrition actually works, that's when everything changed. So here's the math that nobody wants to look at. If you do about 60 minutes of hard cardio, you'll probably burn about 400 to 600 calories. Now, if you eat one muffin, one pastry, or even one iced latte, that's also 400 to 600 calories. Now, how long does it take to eat that? 2 minutes, maybe less. So what that means is that you can erase an hour of effort in less time than it takes to check your phone. You cannot outwork uncontrolled intake. If you still don't believe me, I've got some research to back up my statements. So let's take a look. Studies from Johns Hopkins and NIH show that adding exercise without controlling diet produces little meaningful fat loss. And that's mostly because the body compensates by increasing hunger. If you train really hard, you go for a crazy run, your appetite is probably going to be higher by the time you come back. Dr. Herman Ponzer from Duke University shows that total daily caloric burn is biologically constrained. So what that means is that doing more cardio doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to burn more fat. There are some other studies published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise that show that calorie burn estimates from cardio machines and wearables can be off by 20 to 80%. This is actually a good example of that, the Whoop. I wear it every day. I absolutely love it, but when it comes to caloric expenditure, completely off. Doesn't make any sense. So we cannot really go based off inaccurate data. So we disregard expenditure, we focus on intake. Because again, as we covered earlier, you can erase an hour of really hard work in just seconds with food. So if you're a busy, high-performing man and you're prioritizing your output over your input, it's not being disciplined, it's really just being very inefficient. You already apply this principle everywhere else in life. I mean, if expenses are too high in your business, you're not going to work longer hours to fix it. If your profit is down, you're not all of a sudden going to add more effort, you change the inputs. No serious operator is going to try to outwork bad math. I just want you to do your fitness the same way. So if you want to get lean without doing more cardio and you want meaningful results, here's what to do next. Subscribe to the channel. I actually have another video on this channel that shows how to calculate the calories. You can check that one out as well. And then stay tuned for the next one. Much more coming. See you soon.